Welcome to Anime Archaeologist. Today, I'll be reviewing episode 1 of the Urusei Yatsura remake. Yes folks, the legendary anime called Urusei Yatsura is being remade right now. I'm here watching along with writing the script of this on my birthday as well, October 14th. What happens in here? A certain weirdo from outer space is what happened. As an episode, I do like this one and I'll be explaining it here. Warning! The spoilers come from outer space. The episode begins with alien ships showing up all over the world. Of course, since this remake is made by David Production, also known as the people behind JoJo and Cells at Work, Sakuga is to be expected. I'll be comparing this with both the original anime and the manga as well. But I'll do that later. A Buddhist monk shows up and hears something. A lover's pact. Apparently, Ataru is looking at other women even though he already has Shinobu. He reassures her and yet he's still doing it. After flying from Shinobu's lap, Ataru gets thrown off the bridge by that monk from earlier. He then says that he won't end his life over a girl. The monk says that Ataru's face is a disaster, complete with a background looking like straight out of a very stylized manga. The monk introduces himself as Cherry and gives Ataru his business card. All of a sudden, Ataru's mom and Shinobu show up and some Secret Service type guys show up as well. And the latter are stylized with dots. I swear, the background people in this are all stylized with dots for some reason. All of a sudden, Ataru sees a huge guy with horns. He then throws some beans on the giant Oni to drive the guy away, thinking that it's Setsubun. But alas, it's not working. Ataru is asking about how he's gonna fight off the alien invaders, such as that huge guy from earlier. Apparently, if the invaders lose, they'll leave. The battle? Tag. All of a sudden, lightning comes down to the Moroboshi household. It's Lum. And why is her dad talking in Kansai dialect? Apparently, Ataru is it and he has to tag Lum by touching her horns. And of course, he has 10 days to do this. Ataru, you are horny and you deserve a bonk on the head. Yes, Shinobu. Your man Ataru is a degenerate. The degenerate agrees and we get treated to the opening theme. This is a banger and I'll link it to the description below because of copyright. On the day of the contest, Ataru finds out that Lum can fly and he fails in trying to catch her, complete with a stylized montage. Sasuga Davido Production. We see Ataru's parents and Cherry talk about how unlucky Ataru is. Good grief! Ataru, Shinobu, and their friends are in Ataru's room, trying to cheer up Ataru, the extremely stressed. Shinobu promises to marry Ataru and it manages to motivate him. Indeed, he is quite simple. The next day, Ataru tries catching Lum, complete with him screaming "Marriage!" over and over again. What did I tell you? Simple man is simple. He manages to catch Lum by the leg, but alas, he gets shocked by her. But alas, again, old Ataru gets up and thinks of marrying Shinobu here. He captures Lum's top and catches her by the horns. Damn it, he won! But did he really? Because Lum here thinks that she's gonna get married to Ataru. Lum's dad cries and supports Lum in this anyway. Shinobu's mad and Ataru says the obvious, that it's a misunderstanding. The next day begins with Ataru wanting to get women after his victory over Lum. Of course, she arrives and clings on to him. Now I know why he doesn't want her. She shocks him even when happy. And so the first half ends. The second half begins with Lum shocking Ataru again, telling him that cheating is a bad thing to do. He tells Lum that he only has feelings for Shinobu. Lum shocks him again even harder. Mrs. Moroboshi and a neighbor gossip about things while Ataru calls Shinobu. But alas, Lum interferes and even says that she'll be making babies with Ataru on Saturday. Truly, marriage is lewd! We see Lum's orbiting the earth and causing that weird thing from earlier. When angry, Lum has a similar tone to Kotoko from Kyoko Suiri, even though Lum's voice actress had not voiced Kotoko.
徹底抗戦だっちゃ。お帰りなさいませ。食事もベッドも抜かりありません。混浴混浴。同金同金。
Ataru and his mom bicker while his dad tries to calm them down. Later, Ataru tries calling Shinobu again. And of course, Lum interferes! But alas, both Ataru and Shinobu decided to just ignore Lum instead. The jamming signal from Lum's ship is causing planes to disappear, all because Lum's jamming signal is causing a black hole of sorts. Ataru gets shocked from Lum's ship and goes out complete with a rubber raincoat from his dad. But alas, Cherry pops up and follows Ataru the Chad. Lum causes a thunderstorm to descend on the town. Despite this, Ataru and Shinobu meet, complete with Sakuga. Lum is so mad that she crashes her ship and hugs Ataru anyway. And of course, Shinobu hits Ataru with an electric post. The townsfolk are mad at this, and Ataru's parents say that Ataru will pay for all of the damages. Meanwhile, Ataru's on the phone while being chased by Lum, complete with Ataru getting shocked by Lum. She does say the "because it's fate" line, which is a reference to the original. And so the episode ends on another banger. The ending theme is good. In the future, I'll be posting the link to the full version of that song. This episode is quite likable. The first half of this episode follows the first half of the original's first episode and chapter 1 from the manga. As for the second half, it follows the first half of the original's 6th episode and chapter 5 from the manga. The main difference between this episode and the original's episode 1, aside from the story ordering in the second half, is how Ataru was able to beat Lum in the first half. In the original, Ataru was more gimmicky about it, complete with using an extendable pop gun to do this, while in the remakes episode, the gimmicks are more restrained due to the difference of the audience's mindsets. The 1980s is not the 2020s after all. Lum's line at the end from earlier was originally spoken by Cherry. The remake follows the manga more closely, much like how Sailor Moon Crystal is closer to the original Sailor Moon manga as compared to the original Sailor Moon anime. Much like episode 1 from the original Urusei Yatsura anime, this episode follows the 2-part format but with more Lum added in. For some weird reason, Lum's design reminds me of Manami Kiba's 3rd SR card from the Idolmaster Cinderella Girl Starlight stage, like giving a kanabo to an Oni. The main difference is that Manami's Oni costume covers more skin, ironically enough. The fun thing is that Lum is voiced by someone from the Idolmaster Cinderella Girl Starlight stage, Sumire Uesaka. The latter is the voice of Anastasia from the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls and the Idolmaster Cinderella Girls Starlight stage. Miss Uesaka did voice someone from Inspector, as I've mentioned before, but she did voice Karin Nanase, not Kotoho Iwanaga. Meanwhile, Ataru is voiced by a veteran voice actor, Hiroshi Kamiya. This man had voiced the likes of Tierra Erde from Gundam 00, Zehart Galit from Gundam Age, Ko Ichinomiya from Arakawa Under the Bridge, and Seijiro Akashi from Kuroko no Basuke, among others. The sound effects are done a la JoJo, which adds to the Sakuga. What will happen to Ataru now? Come join me next time as I review episode 2.